and welcome into First and North. I'm Cassie Carlson, joined this week by the voice of the Detroit Lions, Dan Miller. We have Lily Zhao from Fox Milwaukee and Ahmad Hicks from Fox Minneapolis. Hey guys, summer is in full swing. Every player seems to be getting married and every publication is releasing controversial lists, and that's where we are going to start. PFF came out with a list of ceiling and floors for every second-year quarterback, and it sure is stirring the pot in Chicago. They listed Caleb Williams' ceiling as Jordan Love and his floor as a bust. Meantime, J.J. McCarthy, who hasn't played an NFL snap, has his ceiling as Joe Burrow and his floor as Sam Darnold. Ahmad, I know you love PFF so much. Do you love this comparison for J.J. McCarthy?
No. You know, it's so funny because when I saw the rundown today, I was like, oh, here we go with more PFF. You guys know how I love that stuff. But no, I hate the comparisons because we haven't seen J.J. McCarthy play a single snap. So I don't say that we can compare him to Sam Darnold, the floor, or Joe Burrow as the ceiling. Just let J.J. McCarthy be J.J. McCarthy. I hate these preseason narratives and storylines that tend to come out, put all this pressure on these guys, and this is what they're dubbed to be this season. This is their production value. It's like you put so much pressure on an athlete when you do that. Now, granted, they should be able to perform under pressure. They get paid a lot of money, but just let J.J. McCarthy play a game, and then maybe we can compare him to a quarterback in the past or the present. But nah, let's relax, PFF, just a little. I understand you want football to hurry up, though.
I thought you might like the Joe Burrow comparison. I mean, it's better than, Caleb Williams being compared to Jordan Love. I feel like Chicago's like, really, we got to go there? And then to name his floor as a bust, it's like, I feel like it's completely unfair because you look back to his rookie season, he's obviously being penalized for what was his surrounding cast and the tumultuous season that he went through. No offensive line, no offensive coordinator to cater to the offense around his strengths. There was no run game. And not only did his offensive coordinator and Shane Waldron get fired, then head coach Matt Eberflus gets fired in the same season. And I think you can look at the sack numbers, 68 sacks. We all know it led the league. You can say, and he will tell you that he held onto the ball way too long for some of those. But he also had 10 fourth quarter touchdowns, only threw 6 interceptions. And I feel like, yes, he was the #1 overall pick. Yes, there's been a lot of noise around Caleb Williams this entire offseason, given the fact that the article from Seth Wickersham was released and he admitted that they were finding ways he wanted to be coached by Kevin O'Connell, and now that maybe he's being penalized a little bit for that. But I don't think this was factored in at all, that now he has Ben Johnson as his head coach. They overhauled the offensive line and loaded up with even more weapons. So I really hope that Caleb Williams, although he has said in the past that he doesn't pay attention to what people say about him on social media, in the news, etc., I really hope he has this article bookmarked and uses it as motivation. And I don't know if it's coincidence or not that about 2 days after this was released, he did post some videos of himself throwing during his offseason. We know Ben Johnson said he's not ready for prime time yet, but I see this one as downright disrespectful towards Caleb Williams. Jared Goff can relate to being a #1 overall pick and being called a bust at one point in his career. He is featured in his quarterback Netflix docuseries this year, coming out in just a week. Here's a sneak peek of what we can see in a week on Netflix.
A lot of people saw it as like I was being cast away or I was being sent to my career to die. And I think, a lot of people in my former organization may have thought that as well. For me, I saw it as what an incredible opportunity to be somewhere that has never won and has never been to the top of the mountain, and how incredible would it be if we're able to build this thing into a winner.
That's my guy. That's my quarterback. Every head coach has got a quarterback. If you want to have success, you better have a quarterback, and I got one, Jared Goff.
To be able to be with a head coach who's a first-time head coach and a GM who's a first-time GM, and be able to be the first decision they made when they got here and prove them right, and how great of an opportunity is that. And sorry, I'm trying not to cry, but it's been so incredible to build with them. But that moment of hearing them on the phone and knowing that the opportunity that I had here was special.
Dan, I think the tears say it all as you listen to Jared Goff right there. And I love the line from Dan Campbell that says, "That's my guy, that's my quarterback." Do you think Jared Goff amounts to the quarterback he's become in Detroit without Dan Campbell and his former now offensive coordinator, Ben Johnson?
No, I think they've all done it together. And I think you got to also throw Brad Holmes in there, Ray Agnew in there, the general manager and the assistant general manager. Two guys that had been with the Rams and two of the guys that believed in him when they made this trade. Look, Jared's right. People outside that building thought that this was just a place he was going to come until they drafted their young quarterback that was ultimately going to take their place. But Dan Campbell didn't think that. Brad Holmes didn't think that. Ray Agnew didn't think that. Ben Johnson ultimately didn't think that when he got a hold of Jared Goff. And it's been a great story. And I will tell you, I've probably said it on this show before, I've been in this business for 44 years. I've never rooted for a player harder than I rooted for Jared Goff in the playoff game against the Rams, because I knew, even if he wasn't going to say it, I knew what that game meant to him and what that game meant to the city of Detroit overall. And it was just an amazing night. And all those tears you saw from Jared Goff and all getting choked up, that's what we all felt that night as well. It's been an amazing story. And it's been a story that I've loved watching develop. I'm so happy for him because he has beaten the odds. He has beaten the people that thought that he was done when he left Los Angeles. And if I can just weigh in on the PFF thing for a second, I think that's hilarious. Is this the second Green Bay quarterback that now owns the Bears? Because they're in essence saying that the best he can ever be is the quarterback that's in Green Bay. Look, I don't think these rankings mean nothing, but I find it hilarious that they're saying that. And then, yeah, J.J. McCarthy, you can be a guy who's already been to a Super Bowl. So, I mean, look, it just adds to the fun of all this stuff, but it doesn't mean anything, you know?
I know, but we like to talk about it. Hey, before,
no doubt. It's fun. That's why it's
fun.
there.
It is fun. And if it's motivation for a quarterback, by all means, throw out all the craziness that you want to.
It should be. It should be every time those two teams play each other, as if Ben Johnson didn't already set the table by taking a shot at the Packers when he got introduced.
Yeah, but Matt LaFleur wants none of that talk. He's like, please, can we stop with it and move on? Dan, what else do you want to learn about Jared Goff from this show?
Somewhere.
Yeah, and I'm guessing Matt LaFleur wants all of the Bears that he can get. He may not say it to us, but I'm guessing that. Look, there's unfinished business. This is a team that has been built that had a chance to get to a Super Bowl a couple of years ago, lost a 17-point lead to San Francisco in the NFC Championship game. This is a team that got decimated by injuries last year and came up short after winning the division and losing in their first playoff game. So, you know, what's next for Jared Goff is what's left here in Detroit. It's what's never been done in Detroit. It's getting to a Super Bowl and winning a Super Bowl. And really, that's all there is. Look, he's already gotten the contract. He's already reasserted himself as one of the better quarterbacks in this league. Now it's about finishing what you've started here and taking this thing all the way. And for the Lions, that means the ultimate goal, and that's winning a Super Bowl. There really is nothing left for this team other than that. Doesn't mean they'll do it, but anything short of that means that they've come up short of their goal.
I mean, that's pressure in itself as well. Lily, we've talked on this show before about the Packers adding a pass rusher. We know Trey Hendrickson was out of Cincinnati. Now reports are saying Steelers all-pro pass rusher TJ Watt is unhappy with his contract situation, and multiple teams are checking in. Do you see the Packers making a hard push for him?
It would be interesting if they did, and I would think the Steelers would be foolish to give up a guy like TJ Watt. Again, they've been talking about going all in with Aaron Rodgers as their quarterback. You can see with their offseason acquisitions, and that would kind of tarnish what they're going after if they were to let TJ Watt walk. And look, he's a guy who's a generational player. He's the face of their defense. They can't afford to have him leave the Steel City, but that being said, if that does happen, the Packers have just enough cap space at over $35 million to make things work. But if they were to go for a guy like TJ Watt, he's going to command a very big price. He's going to command some draft assets. Can the Packers afford to give up any of that to get TJ Watt to join their defense? That is to be seen. So it would be a massive move for Green Bay to get him. It would cost them a lot, and especially TJ Watt demanding a new deal would obviously come with a lot of money as well. So is that something they want to invest in? He is, of course, a really good player from the state of Wisconsin. I don't think Packers fans would hate having him on their team, but it is, does it come at the cost of re-upping other guys and rebuilding your team around Jordan Love and company? So I'm intrigued to see what happens, but I have a feeling that TJ Watt hopefully will get the deal he deserves in Pittsburgh. And I also want to comment on the reports of Jordan Love and Caleb Williams. Why are we using Jordan Love as a ceiling? He's been a starter for 2 years in the NFL. I mean,
think that's
his
the point.
ceiling could be much higher. He could win a Super Bowl down the line. So I think it was kind of interesting to use him after just 2 years as a starter as a ceiling comp for another player. But I think Packers fans will love the fact that Jordan Love, Aaron Rodgers, they own the Bears. They love that narrative, so we'll take it.
And Aaron Rodgers is also coming back now as a Steeler, so that narrative is going to continue on for another season. Ahmad, Aaron Jones named to the NFL Top 100 Players list. He's listed at number 98 after that huge year he had in Minnesota, posted a career high in rushing yards, over 1,500 yards from scrimmage. What did he mean to the team last year, and how much do you think he's going to help out J.J. McCarthy, given he's going into his first year as a starter?
I think he was one of those glue guys, Kelsey. I think he just, Cassie, excuse me. I think he is just one of those pieces. I know. I'm sorry. I'm looking at the prompter that says Kelsey right now in front of me. But back on track here. I think when you talk about Aaron Jones, he's a guy who was small, undersized, not the fastest, not the strongest, but yet showed up each and every week. He was one of those guys that played through numerous injuries, and I think he just set the tone for the identity that the Minnesota Vikings wanted to have last season and this season moving forward. Now, we all know he probably won't get as many carries this season as they brought in former 49er running back Jordan Mason, but I still think he's one of those guys that when you have a good offensive line in front of him, he can be good for a burst play. He can be good for 15 carries a game and catching the ball out the backfield. And that's something all his teammates raved about him. Fullback C.J. Ham just said, the moment I knew that Aaron Jones was the real deal, well, we were in training camp and they ran a fade ball and he went up and jumped over one of our linebackers and caught the ball. So I love having him around in the locker room. He treats you with the utmost respect every time you see him. And those are just the type of guys that the Vikings love having around.
He is a great interview to listen to as well. Lily, how many Packers do you think make the NFL Top 100 list? Jordan Love, 34 last year. Do you think he falls?
I don't think so. I mean, I think the Packers hopefully have multiple guys in the top 100 this year. And, again, it was a year last year where they were hoping for a Super Bowl, obviously fell very short of their expectations. This year, again, a lot of eyeballs on their offense. And so I think a lot of guys on the offensive side of the football want to kind of make that list. And Jordan Love included. Rashawn Gary was the other name in there. But the Packers are hoping that Matthew Golden is a guy that sticks around for a long time and it really holds true to that first round draft expectation. So maybe a guy like him or, Xavier McKinney still. I mean, he had a phenomenal first year in Green Bay. He's a guy that can really change the Packers defense as we saw last season, so maybe he can make the list. But the Packers are hoping to have multiple guys in the NFL Top 100 list this fall.
Dan, Lions had 5 last year. Is there a possibility we see even more? That'd be crazy.
Yeah, I think that's possible. I mean, if you looked at the list last year of the players under 25, I think they had 5 of the top 25 or 30 or something like that. So certainly, I mean, you can start rattling guys off like Jahmyr Gibbs, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Penei Sewell, Aiden Hutchinson, Brian Branch, Kirby Joseph. I don't want to leave anybody out. I mean, does Jack Campbell start to get some respect in that type of voting? I certainly think that you could see guys that are Sam Laporta, as you see on that list there. You could add to that list, in my mind, some of the guys that took a big step up last year. I mean, Kirby Joseph, right off the top of my head, leading the NFL in interceptions last year and resetting the market for a safety getting a new contract. That would be another guy certainly that could be added to that list. So, look, they got a lot of young talent here in Detroit, as you can see from the hundreds and hundreds and hundreds, and one more, hundreds of millions of dollars that they've given out in second contracts. So I think you're going to see a lot of Lions that'll dot that list.
The Bears only had 2 players on the list last year. It was Keenan Allen, who's currently not on a roster, and Montez Sweat, who after his disappointing season, I don't think he's going to be on it this year again. If I had to place 2 more in their spot, I would go Jalen Johnson. I think he's now established himself as one of the top cornerbacks in the league. And I think you got to put Joe Thuney on there. He's regarded as one of the best guards, and we know how much success he had in Kansas City. He also won Super Bowls in New England, so I'm hoping he brings that same mentality and toughness to the Bears offensive line. I think he deserves a spot on that top 100 list. All right, we need to take a timeout. When we return on First and North, the NFC North was the toughest division last season, but where does it rank if you're just looking at quarterbacks? And Packers rookies try cheese curds for the first time. That and more when we come back on First and North.
Major League Baseball on Fox.
What I'm doing, getting right to it. The money is talking, I'm flowing, it's coming in just how I do it. Oh
my goodness! Major League Baseball all season long on Fox.
Welcome back to First and North. I'm Cassie Carlson at our Fox 32 studios in Chicago, joined this week by Dan Miller in Detroit, Lily Zhao in Milwaukee, and Ahmad Hicks in Minneapolis. And let's get into it. Another list. NFL.com released their division rankings based on quarterbacks. The NFC North, despite being the toughest overall division last season, ranks 6th when just looking at quarterbacks. They have Jared Goff as the 4th overall QB, Jordan Love at 10, Caleb Williams at 28, and J.J. McCarthy at 29. And after that previous conversation, I'm kind of surprised they didn't rank J.J. McCarthy ahead of Caleb Williams without taking an NFL snap. I mean, why not, right? Let's just add more to the conversation and more motivation for Caleb Williams. Dan, do you think Jared Goff has the same production now with John Morton as offensive coordinator?
You know, the good thing is Ben Johnson, although he will be missed, obviously, because he's a terrific football mind, he didn't take the players with him. Now, that you still have the weapons here in Detroit that Jared Goff knows how to utilize. And I think the one thing that helps Morton is he was here when this offense was designed. He was here when this offense was installed. He's got experience with Jared Goff. He's got experience with the players. So, look, I still anticipate you've lost Frank Ragnow. That's a big piece of that offensive line that's gone that they got to figure out. But you still have Gibbs, you still have Amon-Ra, you still got J-Mo, you still got the guys that they can certainly look at and distribute the ball to, and Laporta and Demo and all these guys that can make plays for this football team. So I anticipate he'll still be a highly productive quarterback. And look, those rankings are skewed against the NFC North because we don't know what these young quarterbacks are going to become. Got a good idea who Jared Goff is. We're getting a better idea all the time of how good Jordan Love is. But the other two guys, they're basically incomplete. So this could look a whole lot different in a positive way at the end of the season if we see those two young quarterbacks take a big step forward.
I feel like everyone has already written off Caleb Williams. They're like, this guy, we talked him up so much going into the draft a year ago, and he didn't live up to any of the expectations. And they're like, let's just write him off now. I find it actually crazy. And I wonder how he mentally handles all of this as he sees it. Lily, people believe this one is up for debate too. Is Jordan Love a top 10 quarterback? He's paid like one. Do you believe he is in the league?
Well, the Packers certainly do if they're paying him that kind of money, and they want him to be at the end of the day, right? That's why they're paying Jordan Love $50+ million a year. They want him to be that next Hall of Fame quarterback following Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers. And again, I know Jordan Love doesn't want to say the injuries really hampered how he played last year, but from that Week 1 game in Brazil against the Eagles, with that MCL sprain down the end of the year, he just didn't look like himself. So if he goes into the season fully healthy, we can't blame the health, I know that, but fully healthy, we kind of will see what Jordan Love can be at his peak in his 3rd year as a starter. We saw Aaron Rodgers really blossom in that regard, and the Packers really gave him a lot of weapons. They're retooling the offensive line. They're adding to their defense, and they believe, that they have a lot of tools around him for him to succeed. And so this is a really big prove-it year for Jordan Love. He got 1 ring in the offseason, marrying his love, Veronica. Now he wants that 2nd ring with the Super Bowl. And so I think this is a big year for him to say, this is why you guys paid me so much money to be that next generational Hall of Fame quarterback. I'm going to go out and prove it. And Packers fans are hoping that comes to fruition this season.
I like the comparison you made there. We're actually going to touch on that later in the show, a little tease. Ahmad, McCarthy, 29th. I feel like I know what you're going to say, but is that fair?
No, it's not fair. Come on now. I mean, you're going to rank the quarterback who has not played a snap in the NFL, and then you rank him at the bottom of the league? I mean, look at what the rookie quarterbacks did last year. So, look, you guys know I'm not a fan of these lists. I've never been a fan, even as a player. You go back to high school, college rankings. It's just too much. Let's just play the game. Let's critique everybody based on games played. With that being said, I don't think that J.J. McCarthy will finish in the bottom half of the NFL just because of the front line that they have. You have Will Fries that they just brought over from the Indianapolis Colts, along with Ryan Kelly. You're talking about some guys with a ton of experience in the National Football League. You had 2 of the top tackles already, and Christian Darrisaw and Brian O'Neill, and then you spend a first-round draft pick on Donovan Jackson. So, look, I think he'll do great this season, not 29, though.
All right, I feel like you just hinted at something because you said you've never liked these lists even back to high school. So were you like left off of one or something? Like there's got to be some like PTSD.
No, absolutely not.
You were on all of them?
I covered in St. Louis. No. In St. Louis, when I just left working on television, they did a top 10 list for every position every year, freshman, sophomore, junior, senior, and you would see all these people fighting all day. And I'm just like, what are we talking about? Who cares where you're ranked in high school and things like that? So lists are overrated. I don't like them.
All right. Well, Tight End University took over Nashville last week. Here's what TJ Hawkinson had to say about J.J. McCarthy.
Turns that on when he gets on the field, and you don't really notice that when you're just hanging out with him or talking to him. I mean, but he really wants it. He really wants everything to be perfect. He's a perfectionist for sure, and which is awesome because that's how you need to be as a quarterback in this league. And his arm talent is insane. It really zips on you, and he can spin it. So been a lot of fun to see him in OTAs, and just can't wait to get out there with him in camp and throughout the season.
Yeah.
So Ahmad, is this what you've picked up on from watching McCarthy throughout OTAs as well?
I mean, yeah, but I don't feel like that you really got an honest assessment because these guys are going 50 to 70%. The DBs are allowing the guys to catch the ball and whatnot. So there were some days where he looked good. There were some days where you're like, wow, he has a little bit of learning to do. So I can't really put a grade on it or anything. But, yes, his teammates should praise him. They should talk about what they've seen. And he does have a little zip on the ball. He's always positive. He's always hungry for more knowledge, for more of the game of football. So he's exciting to be around, I'll say that. But I just really can't speak to what he's going to be until we see him playing an actual game with live bullets.
And that's why training camp is fun too. Hey, look at this. Lions tight end Sam Laporta met Pope Leo, and you can see him and his now wife being blessed at the Vatican. Just want to throw it out there though that the Pope is a Bears fan, so I'm hoping maybe like under some circumstances he's actually like blessing the Bears rather than the Lions, Dan.
Well, listen, we felt good about that here. if Sam is bringing some of that back with him, that's outstanding. Obviously, a phenomenal experience for him. But you know what? I guess we'll find out if there's a Hail Mary at the end of the Lions and Bears game. Which way does it go?
Oh.
We'll see how far this thing carries somebody.
Meantime, Packers rookies are being shown the Wisconsin way, trying cheese curds for the first time. Take a look.
Cheese curds? This fried macaroni? No, these are the cheese curds? Oh, this is a moment. I've been meaning to try these too.
Oh yeah, that's smack. Them are expensive cheese curds too.
I like the little Parmesan on the outside. It's classy.
It's hard to talk. It's so good, you know what I'm saying? I'm just enjoying it so much. Oh, that's good. That's good. Baron ate all these, didn't he? I already know it.
I don't eat them all. We have more. I don't eat them all. That ranch is good. Am I good? Oh yeah. Oh my God.
Lily, you're a resident cheese curd expert. What makes a good cheese curd?
Well, first of all, I think it's the type of cheese you use, the coating on the outside that you use to fry it, and then if you like dipping sauces, what sauces you prefer. I like ranch and marinara. Those are my sauces of choice. And there's a place near Lambeau that makes some really, really good cheese curds, so hopefully that's where these guys tried them. But I feel like for the players, you're not a true cheesehead Packer until you do try those cheese curds, so it's pretty cool the team did that for them.
That's the only thing I'll give Wisconsin is that they do know how to have some good cheese curds. All right, we need to take our final timeout. Next on First and North, former Packer throwing shade at Aaron Rodgers. Don't miss it.
This is the future of golf. It all starts here. Live Golf on Fox.
This is going to be hot. It'll be a party. Long live golf.
Let's go!
Welcome back to First and North. At the beginning of the show, I mentioned it seems like every player is getting married. We just showed Sam Laporta, another one on the list. Lily mentioned it. He got one ring. Now he's looking for his other Super Bowl ring. That's Jordan Love. Well, David Bakhtiari was tweeting, just happy at least one of my quarterbacks invited me to their wedding, throwing a little shade at his former QB, Aaron Rodgers. And Lily, word on the street, you were actually invited to Aaron Rodgers' wedding last week. You were off the show last week as well. Were you at Love's wedding?
How did you guys know? Don't blow my cover. I was not there, guys. But I am curious, though, did Aaron invite anybody to his wedding? Because David Bakhtiari is one of his best friends. And so when I saw that tweet, I was kind of curious. I was like, oh, I expected David to be there. But you know what? Teach his own. I love that Aaron Rodgers is happy and he's married. And hopefully, David Bakhtiari can get invited to, like, another party that Rodgers has down the line.
I'm sure he'll have one. I love that there was no follow-up questions after they asked Aaron Rodgers if he's married, and he said, yeah. All right, everyone. Great show as always for Dan, Lily, and Ahmad. I'm Cassie Carlson. Thanks for watching First and North. We'll see you right here next week.